When I push a general strike, when I push people to do more than protest every 4 months on a Saturday outside of working hours to stop fascism, the number one comment I get is, Paul, I have to work. I have to eat unlike you. Do you know how a diamond is made, how it is formed? It's raw coal, and it is underground in mountains under high temperatures and high pressures. It is formed after years, year after year after year, and then over the course of time, it creates this beautiful diamond. When I grew up, I was in a very unhealthy house. My dad would beat my mom. He would stab us with a fork if we ate with our mouth open, whip us with the belts on our bare backsides, put my mom through a wall. My parents were married 8 times between the two of them. My maternal grandfather was married 9 times. My paternal grandfather was married 9 times. When we went on vacation, we couldn't afford to stay in a hotel. When we went to Yellowstone, we either slept on the floor of my mom's Suburban, or if we can spring for a couple bucks, we slept in a tent outside. We never went out to eat. We ate out of a green metal Coleman cooler with a metal latch. That was it. And my stepdad couldn't come with us because he had to work 3 jobs just to pay the bills. After I grew up and became 18 and I worked, I walked 5.2 miles to work every day. 5.2 miles. Down a rural part of Oregon to work at UPS. No street lights. Every day I walked, I was praying that some car wouldn't come around the corner and hit me. 10.4 mile round trip for years because I was too poor to afford a car. When I couldn't pay my rent, I had to come home later so the landlady would be asleep so she wouldn't ask me questions about my rent check. When I was finally able to scrape together a couple of bucks, I was able to get a car for $250. One of my good friends gave me a car. One time I couldn't afford rent and I had to sell my PlayStation just to pay rent. Another time, my Spawn comic book collection by Todd McFarlane. I had to sell it just to pay for gas. When I got married, my first table was a cardboard box with a white sheet. That was fine dining in my house. So when I hear people say, Paul, you live a very privileged life, it must be really nice for you to go and tell people to sacrifice because I have bills to pay. You don't look at how the diamond was formed because you don't care. That is an excuse not to help somebody else. I grew up in the darkness. And in fact, when I got older, I wanted to get my associate's degree. My local junior college I went to when I was a kid, I almost flunked out of it because I was distracted with all the crappy stuff in my life. So I went back. When I had 2 kids, I dropped my kids off at daycare. I worked a full-time job. And then I went to school Tuesdays and Thursdays until 10:30 at night. And then every Saturday for half the day, I would do homework. And it took me 6 years to get my associate's degree. But you know what? I got it. When I hear people say, Paul, you don't know what you're asking. You're privileged. Do I sound like somebody that's lived a privileged life? You see a diamond and you think, oh my gosh, he must be so privileged. Oh, it must be so nice to have money. Nobody said I had money. Nobody said I'm rich. Nobody paid for my truck or my house. I have bills just like you. I have to buy food. In fact, this morning, I'm going to Costco to buy food because money doesn't fall from the sky. Neither does food. I have to bust my ass just like you. But what I know is that there are people right now in this country, children, in concentration camps that are eating broccoli with worms in it. They're eating moldy bread. They're completely depressed. I've read stories where children at the ages of 14 are trying to cut their wrists with plastic knives because of the depression from living in these concentration camps for months. Women are losing their pregnancies. Multiple people have died in concentration camps. Families are being ruined by what's happening. We've already had 2 U.S. citizens murdered by our own government. But I'm sorry. What was that? Paul, I have bills to pay. You have no idea what's going on. Why don't you go down to the Dilley Detention Center and tell them, sorry, children, I can't help you. I have bills to pay. Sorry, 14-year-old immigrant, that you're so depressed that you're trying to unalive yourself with a plastic knife. I have bills to pay. Don't listen to Paul. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's because I give a damn. When Bane was talking to Batman, he said, I grew up in the darkness. You were merely a visitor. That was my childhood, whether you like it or not. But you know what? Sometimes to get to the diamond, you have to go through the hardship. So stop judging people based on where they are. I'm not rich. I'm not wealthy. I have bills to pay. I'm in debt on my mortgage. But because I'm not in the same situation that you are, you think somehow I'm entitled, and I'm not. I busted my ass and got to where I am. But I care more about people. And so I understand the sacrifice when I ask people to go on a general strike and stop working. I get it. It sucks. But I care more about the people in the concentration camps and people being racially profiled and women losing their rights than I do about my own personal comfort. Do you not think that I've lost friends and family? I have family right now today, that have said horrible things to me, all because I stand up against the fascist government. They literally won't talk to me because they worship him so much. But you know what? I've also lost business. I don't care. I don't give a damn. Because that means I give a crap about other people. That's what being unselfish is. And there's not enough people that are willing to be unselfish and sacrifice their personal comfort for a child in a goddamn concentration camp. So maybe stop blaming the diamond. Maybe you should work on yourself and see, how could I become that diamond? Maybe I should care more about somebody else. Because some of the happiest people that I know are poor. Because they don't value money and things. This car is a thing. My house is a thing. My earpods, they're a thing. This is a thing. I don't value that. Because my dad was rich. He was a piece of crap. He would beat us and beat my mom and cheat on her. And then every Sunday he would go and praise Jesus. But even when my dad was having open heart surgery, you know what he said? Hey, son, I could afford to send you on vacation if I wanted to. He cared about money and stuff. My dad never grew up. He's still a lump of coal. And what I do on here is challenge people to stop being a lump of coal and become a diamond. Start giving a shit about somebody else other than your own personal comforts. I need to eat. I can't go on a strike. I need to work. First, they came for the immigrants, but I wasn't an immigrant, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for the trans people, but I wasn't a trans person, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for Roe versus Wade, but I wasn't a woman, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for the Somalians in Minnesota, but I wasn't Somalian, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for me, but I had to buy food, so I didn't say anything. Have a good day.